Hey, hey, hey. Time for the Out of This World story from rSpace. You know those events where anyone reminisces about the good old days, reconnects with old friends, and occasionally spills a little too much wine and tea? Well, a stroll down memory lane can quickly turn into a reckoning with the past. Today on rSpace, let's mop up the spilled secrets. Wife cheated when we were in a long-distance relationship 20 years ago. I filed for divorce, and the children now hate her. I, 48 male, have been married to my wife, Rach, 49 female, for 18 years, known for 22. We met each other in our early 20s during an inter-college festival. I was instantly drawn to her confidence and charm, and we hit it off right away. What started as casual dates quickly turned into 2 decades of marriage with 2 kids, 15 male and 12 female. I thought I had one in life with a stable marriage, decent job, and adorable kids, but I was knocked off by the reality a month ago when I attended her grad school alumni event. Rach has always been very active in her grad school alumni group. She mentors juniors, organizes webinars, and regularly catches up with her old friends. This year, her college alumni group organized a party to celebrate their reunion, and this time, the event allowed +1s. Rach didn't seem to like the idea, and she said it diluted the fun and half of the time goes away explaining the insider jokes to a friend's companion. I didn't take any hint from there. However, as the days approached and I asked her if she had applied for leaves and planned other travel arrangements, she seemed hesitant. She claimed she wasn't feeling well and didn't want to make the 4-hour drive. It struck me as odd because she never missed these events. She'd travel hours for them in the past, even if she had to juggle work or family responsibilities. I asked her what's wrong, and she said she didn't want to leave the kids alone as they were teenagers and they sneaked out when none of us were present. I said we could let them have sleepovers at their friend's place or my parents'. I'm usually not that pushy, but don't know why the more she resisted, the more I wanted to tag along. I made all the arrangements of having my parents take care of the kids for those 2 days. Reluctantly, she agreed, and we made the trip together. The party was normal. Her friends were welcoming, and everyone was reminiscing about their younger days. As the night wore on, everyone started to lose their guard and got into personal talks. During that, one of her friends, let's call her Mona, made an offhand comment about one guy Rach hooked up with during grad school and how he was such a creep who followed her everywhere. Mona and Rach attended college and grad school together, so I thought maybe she got confused, so I corrected her saying, "Maybe you're talking about the college." She clarified that she was talking about grad school. I said they can't be true. Rach was with me during grad school. Mona froze and the atmosphere turned awkward. It was just for a fraction of a second before Rach and her other friends jumped in and said, "Yeah, it must be college." Mona tried to laugh it off, saying it was probably just a mix-up since it had been so many years, but I knew better. The conversation got weird after that. Half of her friends scattered to talk to other people. Mona also left the table. Rach was also silent for the rest of the night. I played along pretending nothing was wrong, but inside, I was reeling. For context, Rach and I were in different colleges. She was a year ahead of me. We met during inter-school festival. She graduated a year before me and immediately landed a job. So in my final year, I moved in with her. After a year, we decided to go for our masters and ended up attending grad schools in different cities. The long-distance relationship wasn't easy, but I thought we were making it work. We were just 4 hours away, so I usually visited her once a month. Soon after it got over, we started living together and eventually got married in a closed ceremony with just our parents. I couldn't wrap my head around Mona's comment. The moment we got home, I confronted Rach. She said, "Didn't Mona clarify that she got confused?" I said it was no mix-up, and if that guy was from your college, how could your grad school friends know and laugh about it? In her defense, she admitted that she told her grad school friends about the incident, and that's why everyone knows. I didn't buy it. I cornered her and asked her relentlessly if she had any secrets during our long-distance relationship days. Instead of responding directly, she cross-questioned me if I had any. I said, "No way, I never cheated on her." She tried to dodge the question, but I became her pain in the butt. She eventually confessed to cheating on me. She claimed it was just once during the late-night study session. I don't remember her telling me about having a study session with a guy. It was always some girl's name that she took. I asked her if I had seen that guy because, during those 3 years, I had attended quite a few events where she introduced me to her friends. She said yes, and then revealed his name, and my goodness, I remembered meeting that guy and shaking hands with him. I was trembling with anxiety. For years, I had believed we had a rock-solid marriage. We had overcome challenges of long distance and built a life together. Now, all of that felt like a lie. I didn't know how to react. She brushed it off, saying it was just a one-time thing, and it was a long time ago. She even said, We were in a long-distance relationship, dang it. I asked her, what is that supposed to mean? She didn't give any direct answer to this, but she hinted that cheating is pretty common in long-distance relationships. She tried to gaslight it that maybe I was a jerk for being loyal and not doing anything for those days. I asked her, how was I supposed to know that it's an unsaid rule in long-distance relationships that you can sleep with others when your partner is not around? She said we weren't even engaged and didn't know where our relationship would lead to, and if I was even serious. I was flabbergasted. When I was in my final year, I didn't even attend my prom because she got upset if I took other girls with me. I ended up spending my prom night cuddling with her and watching her favorite movie. If she imposed the rules for me, she should have abided by it too. The conversation made me dizzy. I grabbed my phone and wallet and stormed out of the house. After driving aimlessly for an hour, I ended up crashing at a friend's place. I didn't tell my friend immediately about it. I said I wanted to stay away from her for a while. I tried to process everything. The next day, I went home when she was at work to pick up toiletries and other essentials. I texted her, will you tell our kids that I was on a work trip? She said I was overreacting, but she was okay to give me the time to process my emotions. Since then, I'm living with my friend. I cannot stop imagining her with that guy. A week later, I told my friend about it. He empathized with me, but also discouraged me from separating. I have also met a divorce lawyer and discussed my situation, and when I told her about this, she freaked out. She said I was blowing it out of proportion, and this was uncalled for. But I broke this news to her. She was taking everything casually. Now she's asking me for a mature talk. She even told my parents that I was staying away from home for a month, which is affecting the children badly. When my mom called, I told her the truth of my decision to separate. She said I should stick by for the sake of 20 years of marriage and for children's well-being. I know for sure I don't want to stay with her, but I also don't want to burn bridges with my children. I have been an involved father and wanted to be this way lifelong. Some of my friends are saying maybe I should remain married until the kids grow up and move out. Of late, the kids have gotten suspicious of my absence. It's the first time ever I have spent so long without them. Also, when I call them on the house phone, I hang up without talking to Rach. Children are not fools. They pick up on these cues more than adults do. I'm taking the matter forward, but everyone, including my parents, friends, and even colleagues, are suggesting I shouldn't make hasty decisions, or maybe give a second chance to salvage my decades-long relationship. I'm not changing my mind because of their opinion, but sometimes it feels reassuring if someone seconds your decision, which hasn't happened in my case. Everyone thinks that it happened before we got engaged, so I should just suck it up. I can't. I just can't. I just wanted to lay it out here and see if anyone has faced a similar situation, and how did you deal with it? If this has shattered your trust to the point where staying in the marriage feels impossible, that's totally valid, OP. And her defense? We weren't even engaged, so it didn't count. Get real. This is coming from the woman who couldn't bear the thought of you going to prom with someone else, and she now expects you to chill about her one-time study session? Literally, the audacity. Cheating is cheating. It means the foundation you built with one another was built on lies. Update 1. Okay, I got a lot of heat for not being an alpha male who goes nuclear on the cheating wife. I don't know what that means, but I figured it was about going nuts seeking revenge. Guys, I have 2 minor kids, and whether I like it or not, I have to face her while co-parenting my children. I know and have read many posts of gallant men scorching their cheating wives, ghosting them, and doing all sorts of stuff. I'm not sure if I can do any such things with my kids in between. While I appreciate those men for destroying their wives, I'm pretty content with upholding my self-respect by separating myself and becoming a co-parent. Coming to the updates. I came back home after 40 to 45 days. I made it clear to her that I can't remain married to her and was filing for divorce. She accused me of breaking our marriage and argued that it had happened long ago before we were engaged. She even tried to justify it by saying it's normal in long-distance relationships and implied I must have done something similar. Her deflection only made me angrier. I told her I hadn't cheated on her and can't be with someone who betrayed me and covered it up for 20 years. She asked me if she could do something to save our marriage. I said nothing. I just want her to end things amicably and co-parent our children peacefully. After some waterworks and guilt tripping, she finally agreed to cooperate. She said if we want to separate, then maybe we should inform the children before they get to know from others. Breaking the news to the kids was one of the hardest things I've ever done. We sat them down for a family meeting and they immediately started the guesswork. The kids, you know. They instantly asserted that we were getting divorced and that it had to do with our trip to the alumni event. My daughter was quick to say, "Oh, I know, Dad cheated on Mom with her friend at the party." Rach and I were in disbelief. She clarified that nothing of that sort happened. Yes, we are getting divorced, but it was due to her mistakes during her college days. She owning up to her mistakes gave me a hope of being a good co-parent in the future. I don't want my kids to witness their parents' hostility. To this, my son exclaimed at my daughter, "See, I told you, it's mom. Girls aren't loyal." He recently had a breakup with his girlfriend, and he has started generalizing that women are problems. It kind of feels miserable that our children were betting on us. These Gen Zs, I tell you. We assured the kids that despite everything, they remain our topmost priority, and we would take them to therapy to help them process everything. All these while, I shifted to the guest bedroom and was in minimum contact with Rach, unless it was anything with the kids. Meanwhile, I started looking for a place for myself. Rach and I decided to split our assets equally. She takes the house and pays me half the price of its current value. We both had our own car, which we kept. Any shared asset we owned was decided to be sold and divided equally, or one of us pays half the price to the other. Our children are sensible, and they can choose to live with whomever they want. Rach agreed to everything except the house. She didn't want to pay as per the current valuation, saying it's unfair because of the inflated price of real estate these days. She's ready to pay half of its original value or nothing at all. She kind of hinted that she could get the house as the alimony. I looked at her in disgust and said, "I'm being very respectful despite you being a butt, so you better cooperate. You earn equal salary to me, if not more. You cheated, lied, covered up, and wrecked our marriage. You sabotaged our children's peace and well-being, and on top of all of this, you have the nerve to ask for alimony." She backed off after that. We filed for divorce. In our state, we have a waiting period during which the couple has to take joint therapy if the children's age is between 4 and 16, so we had to take one to be able to co-parent the kids better. Next, what happened blew my mind and shook my existence. During one of our couple's sessions, the full extent of her infidelity came to light. Actually, I wasn't convinced that it was just one time. If she could do it once and without remorse, she would have done it many times, but she wasn't accepting it. Whenever I brought this up, she dodged it, saying, "How does it matter? You're divorcing me anyways, whether it's 1 or 10. I admit the number doesn't matter, but I was itching to know the truth. Finally, she confessed. It wasn't just one guy. Over the 2 years of our long-distance relationship, she had slept with at least 10 different men. It was hookups and also friends with benefits, which meant she slept multiple times with the same guy. To save her cheating butt, she said that all the guys knew it was casual sex and that I was in a serious relationship. She swore about never cheating on me emotionally. Wow, if that calls for a Nobel Prize. I asked her for the reason, and she said it was due to loneliness. Her excuses only deepened my anger. If she had felt neglected, why didn't she talk to me about it? Why didn't she break things off instead of deceiving me? We lived 4 hours away and met at least once a month, so her excuse of loneliness and need was all a bluff to cover up her lusty butt. I may have instinctively seen it coming, but hearing it up front was devastating. So her cheating wasn't one moment of weakness, but a planned betrayal. I felt like I didn't even know the person I had married. The worst part was I had met these guys at her college events, and now I feel pathetic about it. I can't help but wonder, while meeting me, those guys had a smug face or a smirk thinking about doing my girl behind my back. I'm so disturbed after that revelation that I have enrolled in individual therapy to manage my emotions and figure out how to move forward. I have expedited the house hunt. I want to move out ASAP. The proceedings are on. I wish it gets over sooner so that I can get back to my routine life. All these things are stressing me out. Update 2. Wow, my last update hit off strong. Thanks for engaging, and sorry for making you guys wait for so long. I was juggling a lot of responsibilities, dealing with the legal proceedings, heartbreak, moving house, and parenting the kids while having a full-time job has really been a struggle. To begin with, I have moved out, and Rach agreed to pay half the current valuation, but in installments. I agreed because I didn't want to complicate and delay the divorce further. She has paid for the last 4 months diligently. I hope she does for the remaining amount. Coming to the kids, initially we had a tentative agreement where the kids would split their time between us, but that didn't last long. They eventually figured out what a butt their mother was, and they've lost all respect for her. They overheard her flirting over the phone while we were still in the middle of the divorce, and I was still living in the same house. When the children confronted, she tried to guilt trip them, calling me the bad influence who turned them against her. My children told her that they'll move out with me. She lashed out on them and even has gone as far as to tell them they'll regret abandoning her when they're older. Instead of bridging the gap, her manipulative behavior has only pushed them further away. During one heated argument, my daughter confronted her, shouting, "You're the one who's broke this family, not Dad. Stop blaming him for your mistakes." My son, usually the quiet one, backed her up, saying, "We've seen the real you now. You lied to us just like you lied to Dad." My daughter even told me, "If she could lie to you for 20 years, how do we know she hasn't lied to us too?" Hearing that broke my heart. When I was moving out, my children kind of showed their middle finger to her, moved in with me. Rach didn't take this well and wanted to file for his custody. The kids made it clear that she could have them until they turned 18 and then never see their face or let them live with me. The therapist we've been seeing advised Rach to stop trying to manipulate the kids and start taking accountability for her actions, but it seems like she's incapable of doing that. She threatened to fight for full custody out of spite, claiming I've poisoned the kids against her. My lawyer assured me that her threats won't hold up in court, especially since the children are old enough to express their preferences to a judge. Their rage freaked me out. I didn't want them to grow up as an angry, disturbed person. So along with the family therapy, I also enrolled them in separate ones so that they can manage their emotions. I didn't want them to hate their mother. It wasn't healthy for their own well-being. After a few sessions, my son started responding to her calls and has been civil for a while. Recently, my daughter moved back to live with her because she liked her previous bedroom and the spacious lawn. I'm currently living in a rented apartment, which is not an ideal setup for the kids. My son, however, stuck around. He's finishing his high school in a few months and would be moving out for his college altogether. What shocked me the most was how desperately Rach wanted me to move out of the house. She said she wanted to move on from the marriage, and having me around wasn't helping. I knew better. She wanted to get rid of me so that she could spread her wings freely. Once I and the children were out, she instantly began her dating game. It made me wonder if she was even faithful during our marriage. Some of you asked me if I got the paternity test on my children. Let me clarify, I didn't, and I don't want to unless the kids want to. My children are mine. This one thing I don't want to ruin. Call me anything you want, but this is my choice. I wasn't seeing anyone until now, but a week back, a coworker from a different department asked me out. I told her I was just out of a divorce, and she replied even the new divorcee can have a cup of coffee, and it stood out for me. Not in a way that I fell in love or something. I mean, I enjoyed the date with her and thinking of asking her out again. I may be called out for moving on too fast. Why not? I'm hitting 50 next month. I wasted 22 to 24 years of my life on a woman who screwed at my back. She has started sleeping even before the divorce has gotten finalized, so why should I hold up? I have no guilt for prioritizing my well-being. My children have been incredibly supportive. They have been asking me to go on dates and live a life, and I'm going to do it. Thanks for reading. You're not just a good dad, you're a great one. She has some serious guts asking for alimony after all that. Good for you for moving on and dating again, OP. And her being so desperate for you to move out so she could move on really means she just wanted a man-free zone to swipe right in peace. At least you got the last laugh in the end when the kids chose you over her. What would you have done? Do you think if something happened before you were actually married that it's not actually cheating? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.